Yes, it is an expensive air gun. It is. Represents a good chunk of change. But the question we need to answer in this Nut and Fancy bunker review on the amazing, yes, amazing, FX Crown Mark II is, does it represent good value at that price level? This is a synthetic stocked version, this one right here. We'll talk about the details, how it's shot, would I buy one? This is a feature length review. There's lots to discuss. If you're looking for a 10-minute review on the piece, you're in the wrong place. There are a ton of sellout channels who get product for free, who will review everything positively and say exactly what the manufacturer wants them to say. Now, I'm going to say a lot of great things about this gun because they are deserved. I did say it is great. But it's not because FX gave me talking points. It's not because some distributor gave me talking points and said, hey, make sure you cover this. Make sure you say, I'm independent, dude. I bought that. That's my gun. I bought it. And yeah, it's expensive. I'm going to answer right here. Is it worth it, though? I can hear some complaints already. There's no way I would spend $1,700 or more. If you get a different stock, it can go above $2,000. There's no way I'd spend $2,000 on an air gun. I do get your initial impression. It does sound insane. But slow your roll a little bit and learn about the technology before you judge it. Learn about the capabilities before you judge it. Let me tell you this too, even at $1,700 plus, these FX Crowns sell out constantly. Why is that? Why in the world would a $1,700 or let's just call it a $2,000 air gun if you go with a laminate stock, why would they sell so well? Here's why. Because they represent value. That's why. Go watch my Airgun Philosophy of Use. It's my POU video. I do talk a lot about the advantages of air gunning. It is not totally complete. I'm going to add a couple things in this air gun review. I think you guys will dig it. But the reason this gun often is back ordered, sold out, is because guys understand it's awesome and it represents value. Now, in the knife world, in the gun world, a lot of you guys already understand value. But you're coming over to perhaps a new world, the air gun world, and it's a little bit confusing and it's hard to wrap your mind around it since the last air gun you bought maybe was a Daisy, a Red Ryder at like $35. And you're like, what the hell, $1,700? These are next level, bro. Next level. I mean, these are, well, firearm-like in their capabilities. This one is. So I've reviewed and will continue to review some value pieces. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, if you're new to air gunning, if you're a TMPer, you like my air gun content, the first gun you should go out and buy is an Air Venturi Avenger. That is a no-brainer. You pull the trigger on that, pun intended. Go out and shoot your Avenger. Get back to me. Let me know how much you'll love it. It is a great high-value piece, super affordable. Does it represent the capabilities of this Crown Mark II? Not quite. It's not going to hit as hard. It's not going to have the range. It's not going to have the adaptability, versatility of this piece. But to get your feet wet, and actually maybe that's the only one you ever want to get. Totally cool. This will still be an entertaining review. I think you'll dig it. On the Nut and Fancy opinion on the FX Crown Mark II. I'm still learning about the gun. It'll probably take me another year of use before I feel like I'm an expert at the gun. I have shot it a lot in the last 2 weeks, so multiple outings. I feel I know the piece definitely well enough to review it. Some of my takes, my opinions, things I say may change over time as I maybe push to the slug world, something like that. But I'm going to give you guys the best I can, a middle-of-the-road way to approach this gun. This is a high-end gun, so we have kind of let pass some pricing levels that I will come back to. My last one was about $400 price level. Now we're at $1,700. The reason I'm doing that is because I suspect, I don't know this, but I suspect that some of you guys went out and bought the Air Venturi Avenger, either the bullpup configuration, which, by the way, I've been testing. It is amazing also. The rifle version, amazing. Mine's chambered in 22 cal, and you just love it. And you're like, oh my gosh, is there something better than this? And what I'm doing is posting this review kind of quickly to show you the answer is yes. You're going to have to pay for it, but if you're willing to step up in price, you get a ton of capability. Does it represent value, though, at that price level? I'm going to pull up an AR-15 here to make a point. If you guys are black gun lovers and owners and builders, you'll understand this. So if you want a factory-produced AR-15 that is sub 5 pounds, you're going to pay a price. That's what I've learned, and I've reviewed a lot of black guns, a lot of AR-15s. I've shot tens of thousands of rounds through tactical weapons of all sorts and descriptions. You guys have the video right at your fingertips. You can go into my catalog, see all the videos, all the testing, the running guns, outings, Soldier Boy, Red Skies, on and on and on. I mean, a lot. You ain't going to get a really high-end gun if it's reliable and accurate and super lightweight for cheap. This is a 2A Armament Belios Light. I have not posted my review on it yet. I will soon. It has a ton of upgraded components that I can't go over in this video. It is priced at about $1,850. It's a Swamp Fox Arrowhead. LPVO. There's the data right there. That's why I label it. Link below. That's a great scope. Great scope. But you're not going to get a factory-produced AR-15 with those capabilities for super cheap. And I'll post a video like this, and sure, guys will come in the gun world and they go, oh my gosh, what a ripoff. I can build that gun for $600. I'm like, you're full of shit. You cannot. If you buy the components, like all the titanium components on there, you'll be over $1,000. Easy. Easy. Barrel alone will be like $350. Titanium compensator, titanium everything in that thing. It costs, is my point. Think of the FX Crown products, whether you're talking about an Impact M3 or the Crown Mark II or some of their other guns. I mean, they have a lot of other cool guns. Just think of them as a high-end AR-15. You're getting what you pay for. You're paying for capability, you're paying for accuracy, and actually consistency of an air gun shot. Consistency. And that's what you want. Low SDs. Low standard DEVs, and that's what you're going to get with the FX product. Now, one thing you're going to see in this video is, well, me shooting targets, me shooting steel, and me shooting little plastic boats in water. Oh, dude. Oh. Short. Oh, it's sinking, dude. Oh, crap. Can't take the hit. What you won't see is me thwacking pests. You know, a lot of my testing was done in Wyoming and some in Utah, and I just didn't have access to true pests. There's a ton of videos online showing guys with their FX air guns killing true pests. I'm fully supportive of that, by the way. Whether you're talking monkeys in South Africa, squirrels, rats in England, go for it. I'm not doing that, and I'm pretty selective of what I kill with my guns. That's just me. But you're going to get a good idea of what it's capable of. Philosophy of use will be the philosophy of use video, and then I'm going to add with this FX Crown a top-end, adaptable, versatile air gun that will grow with you. Now, you may be thinking about pulling the trigger on the Impact M3. I do have one of those in for testing right now. It's going to be a little bit before my testing is done. I will tell you I prefer a rifle format before I prefer a bullpup format like the Impact M3 series. Maybe you're the same. The disadvantage is what you're seeing in this bunker with this 600 millimeter barrel, which is the longer one offered for the Crown Mark II. It's a lengthy gun, especially with that Donnie FL moderator on it. And here's what I say about that. I don't care. I don't care, because this thing is so friggin' lightweight. And by the way, that's not a special scope on there. That's one of my old Buckmasters that I Duracoated in 2010. I had it available. It's just a goof. I mounted it on here, and it's been doing so good, I'm not taking it off yet. That's less money I have to go spend on another scope. 6.2 ounces, though, with this carbon fiber-wrapped 480cc air tank. That is pretty lightweight. So, yeah, it's a longer barrel, but okay. I guess if I was in thick brush, hunting wild pigs or something, it would be an issue. And in that case, as I would recommend to you, since there's really no easy way to put slings on this sucker, put it in a case, your rifle case. That's how I want you to carry around your FX Crown. Just put it in a case. This is what I did when I deer hunted growing up as a kid. Had my Remington 700 BDL, beautiful stock, 30-06. I was worried about scratching it. My dad said, why don't you just hike with it in the case? You can pull it out of the case in like 3 seconds. Get ready for a shot. I'm like, that's a good idea. That's what I did. I just put it in a rifle case. Went backpacking with it. Kept my gun nice. It's right there. Yeah, I'm holding it by hand. It's not slung, but I had a backpack anyhow. Yeah, so it is a long gun. I give you that. I do prefer the rifle format. Adaptability-wise, I'll say this, your Impact M3 is going to offer more to you. It has 2 regulators, so that means it's going to have more consistent output pressure, lower SDs, that's good. It has macro and micro adjustments on it. I'm talking about the Bullpup Impact M3. Again, 2 regulators, and some versions like the Sniper have a 580cc bottle, but you can outfit that on this Crown as well if you're willing to buy a bottle. And these bottles screw on and off, and they're easily replaceable, and they self-seal, so they're not going to be leaking air when you unscrew them. Which one would I buy? The Crown. If you're here in the video right now and you've already thought about either a Crown or an Impact, I'm just going to help you out. Knowing you guys in the project, I'm just going to tell you should probably buy a Crown. Maybe in the shorter barrel length, in the 500 millimeter barrel length. What calibers you're saying? Either 22 or 25. This is a 25. If you ever expect to kill something, I would probably go with a 25, because this thing has plenty of air to propel that. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but your shot counts for a 25 are 110 according to FX. For a 22, 145. I wouldn't even mess around with 177. Not with this amazing power source, this expansive bottle. Why mess around with 177? That's stupid. 30 cal, I'm not going to right now. I don't recommend you do as well. All subject to change. 45 shots, that's one reason why. The pellets are harder to source. They're more expensive. You're going to be going through air a lot quicker. You're going to be having to travel with your bottle or bottles. Just think about it. I love 30 cal, and I think it'd be an awesome hunting caliber. Again, there's a ton of videos on YouTube killing pests with the 30 cal Impact. The FX products. My recommendation is you get this one. I think you would be super happy with it. Super happy with it. Philosophy of Houston is a high-end, high-power. This is a high-power air gun. I classify them according to low, medium, or high. This is a high-power air gun that has beyond 100-yard capabilities, slug capabilities. I think most of you guys will be shooting within 100 yards. I think the vast majority will be within 50. And by the way, raise your hand if that's you. For now, that's me. Because I'm schwack and steel at 50. I was hitting it at 100 too. In my operational environment, I wasn't able to shoot for accuracy at 100 because I was shooting pellets, not slugs, and the winds were insane. At a 15-mile-an-hour crosswind, sometimes 20, there's no way in hell I'm going to shoot pellets at 100 and bring it to table saying this is how it shot. It's just insane. But I've got a lot of paper here to show you. And again, this is feature length. We're talking about a lot of stuff, and I have so much to talk about on the features. I will try to be expeditious. philosophy of use. We may come back to that. I'm going to go a little bit backwards, though. I think you guys will like this. I'm going to talk about how it's shot first, and then I'm going to talk about features. And then would I buy it as a non-reviewer? Because I'm a reviewer, so my world is different than your world, and I'm always looking for interesting content that serves the purposes of you dudes. And I've made the commitment to circle back to air gunning. I have done that. I've already started posting, and I'm committed, at least for the guns that I have purchased years ago and the guns I've purchased recently. I got to get those out. And if it's supported in the audience to a level that excites me, I'll do more. If it's not, it'll go the way of mountain biking in TMP. It'll be done. Or scuba diving in TMP. It'll be done. How did it shoot? First off, let me tell you this. The shooting dynamics of the FX Crown Mark II are amazing. Amazing. It is smooth. It is a side lever loaded air gun. And it just dawned on me, I forgot the freaking magazine. The freaking mag. Oh my gosh. Maybe it's in here somewhere. No, it's in my container. I may run out and get it. Very smooth, very fun to shoot, very fast to shoot. It is not a semi-automatic. It's like a biathlon rifle. This is your charging lever right here. This is how you cock the gun. Just like that Avenger that I talked about. Really fun to shoot. Smooth, no recoil. With this moderator, which is included. Look how long that barrel is. I'm like knocking down props. I'm going to knock down my Osprey, my V22. Nice. Very quiet. And this is an important advantage to this and all other air guns that have a moderation attempt given to them. This is not a firearm, so it doesn't require any certificates, any federal forms. It is completely legal to put a suppressor, a sound deadening device that basically increases the airspace beyond the muzzle, which will quiet it. If you want to spend more money, you can put a different moderator on there. It's threaded, I believe, in 1/2 inch, so it will take a bunch of different moderators. I found this one to work so well for me, I don't want to go spend more money. It's fine, and it's not too long in overall length. So quiet, very quiet. Even in indoor shooting, you're going to see me shooting at a range indoor. Very fun range, hitting steel, doing some of my accuracy testing. I just fell in love immediately with the shooting dynamics of the FX Crown Mark II. Let me tell you this, if you are not familiar with me, what my air gunning background is, I have air gunned since the 1970s, but they've been Springers, mostly Springers. I never had the money for a PCP, but I shot Springers through the 70s, 80s, 90s. I hunted with them, shot a lot of crows, rats, pests of all sorts and descriptions, squirrels, with my Springers. And I took a long break with TMP and I bought some Springers and one Benjamin PCP I need to review. Back in 2010, you may see reviews on those. So I know the air gunning world pretty good. I am learning about these modern state-of-the-art PCPs. It is a learning process. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that I am the expert. I am generally aware of their capabilities. As I use them more and more, I will become, more of a pseudo-expert. The guys who are experts are ones that shoot them all the time, ones that hunt with them all the time, that have different tunes, and actually they have a whole quiver of FX air guns. They may have, what is that one called? The Dreamline Classic, a Bobcat, a Maverick, a Wildcat M3, a Royale 500, and an Impact M3. Maybe they have 3 of those. And I'm not kidding. There are guys that have a quiver of these air guns, and that is their life. They're not into the firearm powder burning world. They're into the high-end air gunning world. Let me throw this in philosophy of use. I want to reiterate it. That AR-15 I showed you is cool. It fills a lot of valid philosophies of use. Please consider this. You're never shooting your AR-15s. Can we be honest? You can't afford the money. Go into a range where you're able to shoot them. Very difficult. You don't live in the western wild places like me where you can go out and make your own range. This sits in your safe and you love it. You cherish it. And you're waiting for that without rule of law situation. And I do want you to have at least one of these. But how often are you shooting it? Not very often. Let's be honest, you're not. Unless you're a competitor. If you're doing 3-gun competition, Again, you're going to go broke doing that. Either if you load your own ammo, buy your own ammo, you're going to go broke. It's going to be thousands and thousands of dollars of just ammunition and broken parts and replacement and optics. It's expensive. Shooting the air gun is way cheaper. Would you rather spend $20 or $200 in ammunition? And that's for a little tiny outing with your firearm. Maybe we could say $40 or $400. That would actually be a better comparison. Do you want to spend $400 or $40 in pellets for your Crown Mark II? That's another thing I loved about shooting this, is as I'm shooting it, I'm not like wincing at the amount of money I'm spending. I also like not having to pick up brass. I'm on my knees for hours picking up brass off the desert floor every time I test these guns. And I'll tell you what, it got old about 10 years ago. Here's how accurate it is. This is 35 yards, shooting JSB exact King Heavies, 34 grain, and FX 26.6 grain. Look at that accuracy, boys. How did it shoot? It is extremely accurate. The Crown Mark II. It is a bench rest champion air gun that late, I think it was like this year, some dude took a rest shooting a Crown Mark II. Now, this is in a range. You can see they're basically one hole. 35 yards, it's not that distant, but you're seeing capabilities here. I don't have wind to contend with. I don't have a polymer table I'm shooting off of. We'll get there. Look at that, dudes. Holy freak. You can see my notes there. So these are 25.4 grain. That's these ones right here. I love these pellets. This is in 25 caliber. Again, this is going to be my recommended, let's be honest, this is my recommended caliber you guys get, a 25. I don't think it's going to break the bank. Lots of pellets available for it. It hits really, really hard. We'll talk about the foot-pounds of energy. Look at that, one hole, dude. Now we go out to the desert. Things open up. They open up because I have wind to contend with. And this is a Benjamin 27.4 grain Hunter pellet. This gets a squiggly mark right here because it's not that great. Right here, that opened up. And then I go to FX, that's a 26.6. That's good. Operationally, that is really good. 50 yards with wind. Not high winds. Look at this group, 50 yards. There's 100-yard groupings, not from me, but from other dudes. They shoot this at 100 yards. So that's what the gun's capable of. And some are even better. When they tune the gun for a certain pellet, I don't know if I've seen a group that tight at 100, but who knows. Here's another one. Last one, 50 yards, FX Crown Mark II. Is it worth it? Well, look, you tell me. Look at the accuracy. What did I say here? Windy. Trigger is amazing. How did it shoot? The trigger is insane. Fully adjustable. But honestly, dudes, the trigger out of box is so perfect. Why would you change anything? Get in your manual, and it'll tell you how to change the trigger on the Crown Mark II if you so dare. I doubt many people are doing it unless they're competitors. And even then, I'm wondering why they're doing it. I'm like, dude, it's so amazing. The trigger, wow. Oh my gosh. It's one of the best triggers I've ever shot in my life. There you go. Look at that. I would classify that accuracy as excellent. This one is amazing, amazing, amazing. If you see an exclamation point, I'm very happy with it. Again, this is operational. This is in field. It's me dealing with, well, it's the factors I told you about. Wind, I'm shooting off a table, hot temperatures. I don't have 100-yard paper to show you because of the wind. Maybe later I do a video, though. Amazing to shoot. When I was shooting the plastic boats in the water, I know, it's so fun. Wait, I have more stuff coming up you guys are gonna like. If this air gun content survives, that's a big if. But if it does, I'm gonna get more creative. The production quality on all these videos is going to go up, 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 up. But I was just having a blast. I was shooting off a bog pod. I think that's what's called, BOG. It's like the new thing I got. It has a clamp on it. It has carbon fiber feet. I'll put a link below. It's amazing. Where in the hell has this been? All of TMP. I was like, when I saw this, like, that's what I need. Because a lot of times I have to come up to the target to 20 yards to just get a zero. And the bog pod, instead of me having to relocate my table, my sandbag, my rest, my chair, I just do that. But shooting in the water, really fun. And you hear how much power this sucker has. When I was shooting the steel plates, which I manufactured myself, by the way, 8x8 1/4-inch steel, I drilled the holes, I hung them on shepherd hooks, and they are amazing for air gunning. Yeah, that's just what I made for air gun testing. You can hear them whack. They're so loud when you hit them. This thing has a ton of power. And it doesn't seem like it because it shoots so smooth and so quietly. When you first shoot a Crown Mark II or an Impact M3, you may be going, wow, this doesn't seem like a lot of power because you're used to a gun. Used to that supersonic velocity. We're shooting in the subsonic realm. Depending on how you tune this, you might approach the transonic realm, but most is going to be subsonic. And you just don't think you're doing much until you hit a ground squirrel.
Still awesome.
Until you hit a monkey in South Africa with it. The power levels on this, let me just throw this out, and this is highly variable. I didn't crunch any numbers. 22 is going to be about 79 foot-pounds. The 25, about 89 foot-pounds. That's incredible. 30 is about 124 foot-pounds, and that's if you tune to that level. Keep in mind, people in Britain are limited to 12 foot-pounds of energy, which is asinine, but that is their law for the FAC, and they are getting amazing work done at 12 foot-pounds because the gun is so accurately. They can deliver that pellet at 50 yards to the exact point they want to, and so they take that rat out very quickly. How did it shoot? Again, amazing. Amazing. Let's go to features. This thing right here, dudes, if you're new to the type, this is not the actual barrel. This is a barrel shroud. Inside of this is a stainless steel barrel that in the Mark II has a new attachment system. You can unscrew this. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but this is the barrel shroud being unscrewed right here. This has quick interchangeable barrels. You will have to buy a interchange kit. So that would include a different pellet probe, a magazine, I believe. You may have to buy the magazine separately because you're going to a different caliber and a different barrel. This is the actual barrel. Here's your attachment system right here. And then the smart people at FX just said, and this is different from the Mark I as I understand it. They just go, well, we just need aluminum shroud. There's stiff O-rings in here, which make it concentric. Screwing it on. There's 4 screws, which retain that barrel. You'll loosen these up right here if you want to go to a different caliber. So actually you can get one FX, and then you can get like a shorter 25 caliber barrel, maybe a short or 600 millimeter 22 caliber barrel. And you can just swap calibers all the time. You keep the same optic. Yes, you'll have to make some changes there, but you have one gun and you can just adapt to whatever caliber you want. Remember what I said, value. Okay. The moderator, I'm not going to talk too much about. It's an airgun moderator. I think they're different than a firearms moderator. I put it on and I left it on. Now for the Impact M3, I'm going to use a different can on it. I'm calling it a can, whatever. I'm a big fan of moderating your air guns, making them as quiet as possible. This is a big advantage of the type. If you remember my Beeman R9, it is wearing a Webley. I think that's a brand, the Webley airgun suppressor from England. I bought it at Laken Heath Rod and Gun Club back in the early 90s. I put it on my R9 and it has never left that gun. And it does quiet the gun down, just like this does. It's just a volume of air where it will quiet the shot and it does not disturb the accuracy of the pellet. Here's your bottle right here. Again, I want to make sure I told you right. I said 480cc bottle. Yeah, that's correct. Same as an M3 standard. You can put a bigger bottle on this. They have a VP model of Crown. It's going to save you some money because you won't be paying for a CF bottle. It has a steel tank, and it is a Crown Mark II VP. Value price is what VP stands for. I do recommend that version. It's not going to be 6.2 pounds, though. It's going to be heavier. Most of you guys may not care. If you do plan on walking or traipsing through hill and dale to kill things, I would go with a CF bottle. Again, you can screw these off. They're interchangeable, easy to do. I find they last a pretty good length of time with how I have this gun tuned. And what do I have it tuned for? Well, you're going to see my dials, my front and rear power adjusters. I have it tuned for basically what you've seen, basically a 26 grain pellet and not a slugs. So I don't have a slug liner in this. If you do shoot a slug, I do think you have to put a slug liner in this. You're going to have to change your port back here. and flip it upside down to the slug portion, which is gated, I believe. And you'll tune for that slug. Now, if you guys don't even know what I'm talking about, you're like, what are you talking about? Pellet slugs. Slugs are more aerodynamic, heavier chunks of lead that are designed, in my opinion, to shoot past 100 yards. So if you're going to be shooting at 200 yards, you ain't going to be doing that with a pellet. Okay, you know, because they're skirted, they're more affected by wind. They just won't travel as much. This is a great pellet, by the way. This is I call it 34 grain, rounding up, King Heavy Exact by JSB. So slugs, I haven't gotten into slugs yet. Will I? The honest answer is I'm not sure I will, because I don't know if I have a need unless I perceive it from you guys. Like if I see comment after comment, hey, slug with your crown, and see, come up with some information for us, and I'll do it. You know, I'll get a slug conversion kit on this, and I'll slug it out, and we'll see what happens. Shoot steel, maybe I find some critters or two, and go shoot those suckers too. So that's your barrel system. This stock, by the way, is the standard stock. It's an Ambidextrous synthetic stock, and I absolutely adore this stock. It is awesome. Even though it is a thumb hole, I'm not a big fan of thumb holes. I don't know why the airgun world does thumb hole stocks so often. It might have something to do with legalities in some places. I don't know. Benjamin does it. Beeman does it. And here we have FX doing it. Everybody does it. I mean, I have my old Beeman catalog here, which I've shown you in the Airgun POU video. This is the most awesome catalog. It's from 1993, I think. But this is how they used to do it. Look, there's a Super 7. So this type of gun is not like super new. I mean, this is in what, 1993, 1994. The Super 7 became the Super 12, and it was shooting great velocities back then. So the technology has been around a long time. But if you notice, this gun right here has a solid steel barrel. So that's how they used to do it. And now it's different. It's an interchangeable barrel with a shroud on it and a moderation system on it, which thumbs up from nothing fancy. On we go to more features. Now you can fill this sucker up to 250 bar, and that is about 3,600 PSI. You're going to have some type of fill system for this. I'm using a carbon fiber wrapped tank at this point, so I can get to that pressure level. I do have a scuba tank, but it takes me only up to 3,000 PSI. There are compressors out there you can fill your bottles with. I'm not going to cover much more here. You're not going to fill it up with a hand cranked pump. It will take you forever. And it is a workout. I did it with the Avenger, and I was cursing the process. It sucked. That is going to be more expensive, let's be honest. So for you to get an air recharge system, whether it's a compressor, a series of bottles, it's more money. Ain't going to tell you it ain't. Just like your AR-15. You know, oh, I'm going to get a scope. Okay, you're getting a $1,000 scope for your AR-15. This is the same. This is the same. Okay, at this point in the review, I'm going to slow down just a little bit for the benefit of my gun guys. They're not used to air guns. They're not used to PCPs, pre-charged pneumatics. They look at this thing and go, what? There's 2 dials. I got friggin' scuba gauges on the bottom. I got ports, Allen key insertions. What the hell is going on with this thing? And no, I'm serious. Some guys may look at this and say, it's too complicated. I'm not ready for that. I don't think it is that complicated. And it's not something you need to constantly change. I will get to that a little bit more as we move along here. But I want to make one point for you gun guys to help you understand a pre-charged pneumatic. I want you to think of a PCP like this one, the Crown Mark II, or any other one that has a bottle like this, or just a tube beneath the barrel like the Air Venturi Avenger, as having 2 magazines. This is your first magazine. Air. If you run out of air, or if it goes below a preset value, it's not even worth taking a shot, you're done. You need to have a way to recharge that, as I've spoken of. The other magazine, of course, which I did go and fetch, is your lead pellet or slug magazine. This is in 25 caliber, a 16 rounder for the Crown. I'm tempted to call it the Crown Vic. That's pretty funny, actually. The Crown Mark II. Yeah, so you need 2 magazines, this one and your air. Duh, right? Well, to you and I, it seems logical because we've shot air guns, put 2 guys coming over from the firearms world. It may be a new concept. 2 magazines, keep the air filled, keep your lead filled, you'll be good to go. Now, speaking of the bottle, you may look at it and go, okay, I get it. So nothing fancy. We fill up our bottle, we pull the trigger, and it squirts a little bit of air in the barrel, and that's what propels the pellet or the slug. Yes, in a way, but it's more complex than that in a high-end pre-charged pneumatic like the FX Crown or the Impact M3. What they're going to do is, again, they want to make that air push behind the pellet or the slug super consistent. Then we have low standard deviations. In other words, our velocity is very consistent. Our point of impact doesn't change. That's what you want in an air gun. That's what you get with a Crown. But to do that, they have technology. And this is where it dominates those other ones from years past. The airflow coming out of this gun is super consistent. And actually, to be honest, even more consistent in an Impact M3 that has 2 regulators. This has a single regulator. Let's discuss that a little bit. I hope I don't get the details wrong. Now, there's air gunning experts that live with this gun, live with the Impact and everything else, and they know everything about it. I hope I don't offend you in my explanations for my gun guys. Bear with me. Here's your air right here. The air from here goes into what's called a regulator. Your scuba gauges, as you've playfully called them, there are 2 of them in a Crown Mark II. This one is your fill pressure. It is measured in bar. Excuse me. I wish it was in PSI because I'm an MOA PSI guy, just am. But I'm learning about bar. Again, 250 bars of max fill pressure for this bottle, and that was, what, 3,600 PSI. And you can see where my bar indication is right there. So it goes into the regulator. This is your regulator setting right here, and that is adjustable, externally adjustable in this version, the Mark II. Here's your adjustment key right here. Am I pointing at the right place? It's right here. The 2.5 millimeter hex wrench can adjust that. And I was getting a consistent 910 feet per second. You saw the targets, what I wrote down, right? This, by the way, is a Foster fill port. It does have a dust cover. I have it off for the review, but it just pushes on. This is where you're going to fill the gun. Have a fill the female Foster with a longer collar on there because it makes it easier to unchuck it once you've filled up your bottle. So air comes out of the bottle, goes into the regulator, and from the regulator, it goes into what is called the plenum. And it is 28% bigger, again, in the Mark II. The plenum is actually where the air is taken from to propel your pellet, right? The plenum. That is going to be allowed to escape with a thing called the hammer spring. That's what this wheel, the rear power adjuster, changes. This is your front power adjuster. Don't even worry about it. You can almost forget, in my opinion, that it exists. Airgun experts just like, are you shitting me? Did he just say that? Hey, I'm just talking to guys who are learning this gun. Later on, they can tweak it. I set mine in medium. I played with it. And I think it just changes the amount of flow going into the regulator. I didn't think it did anything much at all. Now, with certain combinations, it can. With certain slug combinations, pellet combinations, it can. I say put it on medium, your front power adjuster on your Crown Mark II. Forget about it. Don't mess with it. And this one is going to adjust what's called your hammer spring. Don't think of it in terms of firearm. Think of it in terms of air escaping. So the hammer is going to hit with a certain force, allow a certain volume of air to propel your pellet. That's what this adjusts. I think I have mine on maximum, and I just kind of left it there. That's your hammer spring tension. From there, it goes into what's called your transfer port, and that is right here, and it's going to be in a certain orientation for pellets and a certain orientation for slugs. You can easily swap it around. The instructions do show that. And then it gets to your pellet. That's your airflow. I hope I did not confuse you. Nothing fancy. I'm like really confused right now. That did not help at all. Okay, let me make it even simpler. The air comes through here, around here, and goes in your barrel, and there's a way to smooth it out. And this wheel allows you to adjust your power. And you can adjust power down here too. There you go. That's pretty simple. That's pretty simple. Oh my goodness. I could say so much more about it, but I want to make this gun approachable. Really what you guys are going to do is you're going to change your regulator to a certain level. And by the way, in my description below, for my recommended retailers, I'm going to have a phone number, a technical support number. When you buy with my recommended links, call the dude. Say, listen, I want to tune my FX Crown Mark II I bought from you. I want to tune it for a 25.4 grain FX domed pellet. for instance. Or maybe you want to go with a King Heavy Diablo, the 34 grain. That's 33.95. Yeah, I just call it 34 grain. And they'll help you out. They'll say, okay, this is what you should do with your regulator. This is what you need to do with your power adjustment wheels. And then guess what? You're probably going to leave it at that position. I won't say forever, but yeah, I mean, you can tweak this one all day long. You mess that, it doesn't change nothing. But this one is a little more tedious to mess around with. It'll have different results. That's what's going to happen. You're going to just leave it in that position. Let's talk about the magazines, and I hope that helps. Remember, one of the magazines, not the magazine. In 22, it's 18 rounds, 25 caliber, 16, 30 caliber is 13. Again, I'm recommending you guys go with 25 or 20, and I'm saying that 25 is my choice because I think it hits so freaking hard. It has a great pest control capability, easy, clean kills, and you're not going through a ton of air. I know air is free, kind of. It's just a pain to fill up your bottle in the field. I'm using the Wolverine X4. I have my carbon fiber bottle in there and I'm filling it up with that. It works great, but in field, you probably have to go ahead and spring for another bottle and just change it out. And 30 cal goes through a lot more air. It's going through 45 shots versus 110. Again, those are ballpark figures, highly variable. The magazine is awesome. It's super, I think, easy to load. There are quick loaders available for it. You're basically going to take this half moon thing right here. You're going to rotate it completely around and take the cover plate off. And then this is a spring-loaded magazine. You're going to rotate it like this. And then you put a single pellet right here. And that holds the magazine spindle in place. And then you can just start inserting nose down your pellets. And again, I like the capacity of the Crown Mark II. The M3 is even better. Then when you put that polycarbonate clear back on it, you're going to rotate your half moon back, and then you just keep it handy and load it. Okay? Again, the M3 is amazing. It has great capacity, but this is pretty darn good. It's better than anything I've shot of the type. Your side load lever, again, very smooth, biathlon-like. And by the way, there are different things you can buy for your gun, your Crown Mark II. You could change your side lever. You could change your stock. There's a company called Saber Tactical, and they actually have a completely different chassis that you can put on your Crown Mark II. I think they're cool. For me, I just love the synthetic stock so much, and I've always said that in my reviews that I love just a regular rifle stock. I don't see the need to change it out. If you want something more special, go with a laminate. They have that green camo one. They have the gray black pepper one. That's going to add a lot more weight. Those guns are like 9.6 pounds, which, by the way, is not abnormal for a PCP. They have always weighed a lot. This is really the first one that I've ever shot that was super lightweight. Credit the stock. But there are some aftermarket accessories for this, much more for the Impact M3. But I recommend you guys just get it and kind of shoot it as it comes. Put a nice scope on it. Put some decent rings on it. Again, I'm not representing a nice scope. That's just my Buckmasters. Actually, no, that's not a Buckmaster. That's my Bushnell. But it's from 2010 and it works. Adjustable objective. You really want an AO scope on it for sure. Really repeatable adjustments. So far, this scope has been great. Again, it's ancient. Maybe I put some better glass on it later on. You can see, by the way, I've mounted mine kind of low. A mistake that a lot of air gunners do is they mount their optic really high. And I'm like, why? If there's a reason for it, then do it. But generally, you want to put your glass as close to the bore as you can comfortably. We have a raised comb on the synthetic stock, which again, they're saying is ambidextrous. Doesn't really matter because our side charger is on the right. I just put as low as I could. And with that comb, it works out good for me. Maybe again, I put a different glass on there, but I like not having to go out and buy something new. Especially as a reviewer. Yeah, the trigger, phenomenal. I love the trigger on this. I've already spoken of it. You have an integrated trigger guard right here. Can't really change that in this model. And again, you can adjust that trigger. I don't know why you would. Remember, this has a last shot hold open per se, firearms guys, in it. And that means that when I put an empty magazine in either an Impact M3 or this one, and probably the other FX PCPs as well, and the Avengers like this as well, that it won't close. That's just telling you that you're out of pellets. And one thing I wish this gun and a lot of other guns had is a loaded feature. Gosh, just a little
awesome
tiny red striker, not a striker indicator, but a pellet indicator of some sort that's telling me that I've loaded a pellet already. This gun does not have it. None of the guns I'm testing right now have it. I don't think it's even out there, but figure out some way to let the shooter know that he's loaded a pellet already. One way you can tell is if you crank this lever and it hasn't been cocked, you're going to have tension right here. But if it has been cocked right here, there's no tension. See how loose that is? That's one way I know. You can decock this, by the way. Here's your safety, 90-degree throw, by the way. I love the safety on this. It's right where it should be, easy breezy. See that? Don't want to rush past that. So I put on fire. I'm going to pull my cocking lever back, and then I slowly release it. And now the gun is decocked. And that will be important for some adjustments that you'll make with the gun. Again, refer to the manual. Whew, lots to talk about. Well, it's a different technology, dudes, and so that takes time. Features, rubber butt pad, and oh my gosh, I almost took out my osprey. The length of pull for me is perfect. I'm not changing anything. There's probably some adaptability there. I didn't really look at it. No sling studs at all. Adapting this for a sling. It is actually doable. You can mount one right here, just a sling stud, and then you can put what's called a Picatinny bottle clamp on here. So it will clamp on your bottle, and it has a little section of Picatinny rail on it. And then you could actually put a sling adapter on that. And I think it would be fine. And I think the bottle attachment is strong enough to withstand that wear and tear. Okay, FX crown. What did I forget on features? Oh yeah, the pick rail has 20 MOA built into it. One disadvantage is I think the run of Picatinny rail on the Crown Mark II is somewhat truncated. It's kind of small. So your forward and aft adjustments without going with an extended optic system, I'm talking like either a rail or cantilever rings or something, is going to be somewhat limited. You're going to have more space on an M3, if I recollect. Again, don't be intimidated by all this. You're going to set it and just leave it. And that's what I'm intending to do with this. The only time I'm going to really change this is when I want to go get something more out of my gun. And remember, ultra velocity is not always necessary for your pellet guns, for your PCPs. You want to find the sweet spot for accuracy and power with every pellet you're shooting. So do I want to go to above 1,000 FPS? Not necessarily. I think where I'm shooting with this gun right now, I'm saying 910 for the pellets I've shown you. It's there. I mean, the power level's there, the accuracy's there. I might tweak it and go higher and go up to the high 9s with it. And I might have to make some adjustment or maybe some changes with that. But I'm pretty happy with where it is. And remember, the old PCPs, dudes, they were shooting at, heck, what power levels like 570 feet per second. There's a Springer I'm shooting in 25 cal. That's what it's slinging pellets at, 570. And I was like, oh my gosh, that thing sucks. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, well, in the 90s, not really. I don't know if it lists the velocity here in the Beeman catalog for their older one. You guys don't even care. You probably don't care. Let's see. This was in a 2022, 800 feet per second is what they're selling this as. This was a Beeman Super 7. But that's with like a very lightweight pellet. You're probably looking at more like 680 on that. And here we're shooting at 910. You could easily get your Crown up to 950 consistent. And really that's where you want to be. You want to be with that consistent velocity so your point of impact does not change. And if you can get like you're not going to get, they're saying 110 shots. You're not going to get 110. I'm like basically shooting through 3 to 4 mags before I want to fill up my bottle. I don't have to fill up my bottle. That's my second magazine, by the way. But I want to get my pressure at a more consistent point for my reg, for my plenum. That's just me as a tester as I was getting this stuff. So, and I think on some of these I wrote what bar I was at. So one of these I said, well, I was at, oh, here we go. The reg was at 130 bar on these. And the power medium on my front power adjuster. I don't know why I wrote PL on there. And we get to the part, would I buy this gun? The answer is absolutely yes, I would. The Crown Mark II is a fabulous, versatile, high power, superbly accurate, fun to shoot. And I'm going to say this, cost effective. What? Nothing fancy. You just told me this gun's like $1,700 to $2,000 and you're saying it's cost effective, you idiot. No, dude, it is cost effective because that's just your initial purchase price. And I think as some of you guys go for the Impact M3, you're going to go down this modification rabbit hole, and it's going to cost you potentially thousands. The Crown Mark II, I did mention there are some accessories for it, but I'm going to make the case, why change anything on it? Get some good glass, good rings, and call it good. The stock on this one is fantastic. Maybe you go with a Saber Tactical stock. You like that one a little bit better. Okay, I get it. Do it to it. But I think it's cost effective. Shooting pellets is way cheaper than shooting ammunition, like I said. And you can get the caliber exchange kits for it if you need that. I don't think, for what they're going to give you, that's super duper expensive. Although they're not free. They ain't giving them away. So yes, it's a pretty hearty recommendation from the Nut and Fancy Project to the world, specifically to my viewers, to go out and get an FX Crown Mark II. The gun is awesome. And yes, it does represent good value. Again, it's not cheapness in purchasing. It incorporates a lot of different things. We talked about the amazing, consistent performance of this product. By the way, made in Sweden. And by the way, constantly upgraded. Soon enough, they'll come out with a Mark III version. The Mark II was an improvement, an improved barrel attachment system. I forgot to mention they changed the breech block design so you don't have to remove your scope for caliber changes. A larger 6.5 millimeter valve there for more power. I forgot all that stuff, by the way. They're constantly improving their products. But I wouldn't wait. I wouldn't say, well, I'm going to wait for a Mark IV. Really? Yeah, you're going to wait like 3 years? No, dude. The Mark II is amazing. The company really reminds me of KTM in the motorcycling world. They're constantly upgrading their products. Constantly. I mean, the 500 EXC, which I owned for years and I loved it. Like every other year, they redesigned the bike. They made it lighter, faster, changed components on it. I was like, man, this is an amazing company. Austrian, Swedish. Same type of approach. The company is amazing. I mean, just looking at the quality levels, I forgot to mention that. There's nothing on this gun that I look at and go, oh, that's cheap. It's like, this is how you build a gun when really the expense is not really considered. They're like, yeah, let's just use the best material that man makes. Well, to a point. They're not making the whole breech block out of titanium. It's milled aluminum. But the stainless steel barrel sleeve, amazing. The attachment system, everything is top notch. And again, in this version, lightweight. Yeah, it's a hearty recommendation. Should it be your first air gun? No. I say before you spend the money on this and commit to a Crown Mark II or future Marks, again, go get a value one. Again, I'll have links below, kind of like the Air Venturi Avenger. It's so inexpensive. Shoot that. See if you like the air gunning thing. That represents a lower entry fee. And then if you love it, I know you will, you're probably going to want a gun like this. I love the traditional rifle layout of the Crown. I think it's going to be around for a long time. Great job. Again, if I get good support in this air gunning thing, I'll do different videos, different things with the Crown, long-term tests, maybe testing different moderators, which you guys can send to me, by the way. Contact me through my Patreon donation service, which, by the way, are responsible for this content. They're the reason I'm working so hard. So become a Patreon member for life. Anybody can do $1 per video. I charge only $6 per month. I have no tier levels. I am an idiot when it comes to running my Patreon service. Take advantage of it. Yeah, it's the Patreon studs and studettes that produce this content for you. Thank you very much. You've probably seen some banners running along the bottom there. Great job, FX. I hope to review more of your guns. We'll see how it works out. Nut and Fancy signing off from the bunker. Whew. Nice gun, that FX Crown Mark II. Love it.